Howdy y'all, welcome to Texas. About a year ago today, I saw a bunch of videos come out all at once about this crazy knife you could find at Walmart. It had a D2 steel blade, a smooth ball bearing blade hinge, slide lock, and it looked strikingly similar to a knife from a company that willingly helps the government destroy firearms. And this knife only cost $10. There was video after video about people ranting and raving about it, and I had 10 bucks to spare, so I went to my local Walmart and picked this puppy up. This is the Ozark Trail folding knife that broke the internet, or it at least broke a fraction of a percent of the internet, and this is a look at it 1 year later. Let's go over it. When I bought this knife, I actually bought a second at the exact same time. I didn't necessarily plan this video 1 year ago thinking that I'd be able to do a 1 year later comparison. I just got two because they were cheap. If it ended up sucking for an extra 10 bucks, I wasn't going to be heartbroken. Regardless, I have a brand new knife and a 1 year used knife. Let's take a look at them side by side and see how a year of regular use has affected the famous Walmart knife. The very first thing you notice when you're looking at these next to each other, the handle scales on this used knife have picked up quite the patina. These started out life being the exact same color. The orange plastic handle is significantly more darker and worn on the used knife. All of the ridges and raises on the knife hardware have definitely got a polish to them. There's lots of silver shiny poking out there now. Now, I'm a pocket guy. At any point, I have at least one thing in each pocket, usually multiple things in my knife pocket. So this polishing's not just from the cloth inside the pocket. This thing's basically been tumbled against my AirPods, pepper spray, truck keys, Leatherman, whatever dumb crap I threw in my pocket so I didn't lose, got brushed against this knife and scraped against it a little bit. So you can probably tell something isn't totally right with this. Let's check the other side. About 6 months into having this knife, the pocket clip just went and jettisoned itself one day. No idea how that happened. One day it was attached, the next day it fell off and the knife just slid into my pocket. I would have attempted to reattach it, but I could only find one screw, and it also appeared that the screws primarily are threading into the plastic there. There's not really a whole lot of depth for it to screw into the metal frame. And I figured if I tried to reattach it with just a single screw, it would either strip or end up prying off. So at that point, I just figured the knife would perpetually live down inside my pocket instead of kind of clipped on. A couple months later, another piece of hardware disappeared, and that was this screw right here. So now this entire handle is being held on by a screw down here at the base and the hinge bolt. The scale doesn't necessarily seem to be in danger of coming off. I really can't even get a fingernail in there to pry it, but there's a noticeable wiggle, and it's still disappointing to see the knife somewhat disassembling itself. If we were to check on the blades themselves, I'm not left-handed, there is quite a bit of wear on the blade coating. I can't find any specs really on what this coating actually is, and it's not like it's completely gone. It is just a little worn down from use. Every piece of cardboard that's brushed past it, deer bones that have scraped against, anything that this has touched has just slowly abraded off that coating. There are a couple tiny bits of rust pitting starting to appear on the blade, kind of near the tip, and a little bit visible in the laser etching of the Ozark Trail logo. Not really a whole lot visible on this side, maybe some up around the thumb tab, and then also on the stopping or like locking point of the hinge in the blade itself. Most of that could probably get buffed away with some Scotch-Brite, but that would also continue to further abrade the coating on the blade. How did the knife feel to use day to day? It was fine. It's a pocket knife. It has kind of become my fidget toy. This is really my third or fourth ever spring-assisted knife, and I just found myself just absent-mindedly opening and closing, and opening and closing, and it's just kind of enjoyable for a dude to sit there and absent-mindedly fiddle with. Considering that though, this slide lock mechanism, as Ozark Trail calls it, it is pretty easy to manipulate, and as far as closing, it is better safety-wise than a liner lock, because as you have it unlocked, you keep your fingers out of the blade's rotational plane versus a liner lock where you would be pushing a liner over and then possibly nicking yourself, which I've done more than once. There is also now a little extra slop in the hinge in this used knife. It's not a lot, but you can feel the actual hinging back and forth of it. The newer knife, or I guess the unused knife, it has some bend to it, but it doesn't have that same noticeable like hinge back and forth of a thud, thud. That slop really seemed to show up in the first few months of carrying the knife, and it hasn't really gotten any worse. I think it's more of the hinge breaking in than anything, and it's pretty sturdy at this point. Now, I haven't torture tested this thing. I couldn't tell you how many feet of cardboard or 2x4s this thing can go through before it's no longer shaving sharp. My daily use has had some more intense days. than others. I've used it to break down boxes, and it wasn't shaving. I've used it to break down boxes, and it wouldn't be shaving sharp after that. But I used it to skin deer. I gutted 6 deer in a weekend, and it was still shaving sharp after that. I just did a quick strop on my belt. I generally will strop this whenever I notice it's starting to lose its edge, and I'll give it a quick sharpening sequence once every few months on the work sharp, whenever it finally gets to the point that stropping isn't getting that shaving edge back completely. As far as things that factor into the blade durability, I don't know if it's just sharpening it to the perfect edge angle and being able to adjust that nicely on the work sharp, or if this D2 steel has some extra special property. To be honest, I don't even know if this is D2 steel. It didn't say D2 anywhere except on the package whenever I bought it, but it doesn't say anything on the handle of this knife. I do feel like the blade has performed a little bit better than some cheaper like CR, MOV, something blades that I've had before, but otherwise I'm not a steel or metallurgy nerd, and I really couldn't tell you what's special about the steel. Look, my overall review is it's a pocket knife. I've never had a crazy expensive knife to compare it to, and really I'm just proud of myself for keeping track of this thing mostly for an entire year. I am definitely disappointed about the hardware durability of this thing, but the knife is still holding together. Look, for $10, I think this knife is probably pretty hard to beat. It's not hard to sharpen. It gets sharper than some cheap Gerbers or other crap I've had, and if I lost it, I wouldn't panic. I'll probably go pick up a couple more and just have them be tackle box and toolbox knives where I just sharpen them real quick and throw them somewhere and forget about them. Y'all, thanks for watching and listening to me ramble about some unimpressive Walmart knife. It's cheap and it gets the job done. If you like this video and review, please subscribe. This knife will continue to leave in my pocket until I lose it, so you'll probably see it being used to cut fishing line or skin an animal sometime this fall. And I've got a lot of adventures and trips planned. I can't wait to bring y'all along, and until that time, go outside, whittle some sticks, learn how to properly sharpen a knife if you don't already know how, and remember, get out there, kill and eat. Thanks y'all.